and welcome to a bonus episode of the Horizon Roundtable. I am Bob McDonald, and you can find me on Twitter at Bob McDonald. Joining me, of course, is my co-host, Fired Up, Matt Dudek.
Hey there.
And Matt, of course, is on Twitter at GrizzTalkOU, and you can follow the podcast on Twitter at HorizonRT and on Facebook at Horizon Roundtable. We are doing this bonus episode because some news came about this week, and Matt, you want to take it away?
The NCAA and Cleveland State University should be ashamed of themselves. And I am officially declaring that I now hate Cleveland State University more than Detroit Mercy. And if you know anything about me, that's saying a lot. But I now wish only the worst things upon Cleveland State University after this news that Rashad Williams' waiver was declined or was denied. It is an absolute travesty for somebody who had all the evidence. This was not a runaway situation. I'll talk all about it. This is 100% on Cleveland State University for being petty children, and that comes down to your new AD, Scott Garrett, who wasn't even there for most of this. He's a petty child and should be absolutely ashamed of himself. Will he be? No, because he's at Cleveland State, and who really cares all said and done other than some of us in the Horizon League. But this is an absolute joke.
Okay. Wow.
So
this isn't going to get... Yes, go on,
yeah.
go on.
So basically, here's the information I have on this, and it's been floating around. There's been some articles. Rashad Williams transferred from Cleveland State University, much like all of Cleveland State University. But Rashad was the first one, and Rashad wasn't transferring because he hated Cleveland State necessarily. He was transferring because he had a family medical issue, and I believe it's with his dad.
Yes.
Not positive on that. Don't quote me, but that's what I've heard. His dad wasn't doing well, so Rashad wanted to transfer closer to home. For him, that meant going to Oakland University, who did talk to him out of high school. He chose Cleveland State, fine. Rashad had high major offers. If this was just the Rashad Williams doesn't like Cleveland State and wants to transfer, much like, Appleby ran away to Florida, Rashad had high major offers. He didn't want high major offers. He wanted to be close to family. So he chose Oakland University. And much like everybody else who has to go through this waiver, the new transfer waiver thing, he applied. The difference is Cleveland State has not approved all of their transfers, which is not how this generally works. We over at Oakland, we had Norris run away for no reason other than he was a freshman that didn't like it at Oakland University. Greg Campy, he didn't deny that. He approved it on his end, which means that there's a chance Braden Norris might become eligible. The NCAA still has the final say on that, but Campy is not going to make his life harder. Oakland University is not going to make his life harder. Same with James Beck going to Miami of Ohio. All these things. But it seems from what we've heard, and I've heard it from multiple places, that Cleveland State has denied all of these, making it even harder for the NCAA to approve these kids. There's been so many approvals in the NCAA. This transfer portal just opened up such the can of worms. But Cleveland State has made it tough on all of these students. That's why Dunn, the one that went to St. John's, that sat out a year already, he got denied. We've got Williams getting denied. Cleveland State is becoming on everybody's shit list, and they're definitely at the top of mine now.
Okay. I guess I should, as the resident Cleveland State guy, I guess I should say something about this, because literally nobody else is, and that's the problem. The optics of this.
There's one fan.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that there seems to be one fan I'm convinced of the Scott Garrett burner account.
He is not, by the way. No.
Yeah. Fine.
He is not. I don't know what's going on, and the problem is that the problem I have with all of this is the absolute silence. I mean, give us an explanation, give us an excuse. Even if nobody likes it, at least we know what's out there. But that's not what happened here. Basically, basically, Cleveland State is going about their day like none of this matters to them, and maybe in their minds it doesn't. But the fact that you have so much anger, not just with Oakland, obviously St. John's fans have been giving you know, giving Scott Garrett the business as well. I mean, and the New York Post actually tried to reach out, according to Zach Braziller, who's the college basketball writer at the New York Post, who wrote the story on Rasheem Dunn's denial. He actually reached out to get some sort of explanation, some sort of comment, some sort of anything, and he got nothing. There was your opportunity right there to at least get something on the record, to actually, have something. Would it be acceptable to anybody? I'm going to guess no, but at least it would be out there. Instead, it's this same code of silence that apparently permeates throughout Cleveland State University, that has permeated through this stupid freaking institution for the last 50 goddamn years. Fucking say something. Anything. I'm serious.
They're too scared.
I don't give it.
He can't say. What does he say?
I don't care. Anything. Literally anything. It doesn't matter. I mean, yes, I'm sure it's going to be, again, it's not going to appease anybody, but at least it's out there. At least, at least we're not, at least we're not in the situation where we wouldn't be in a situation where an entire institution is just wandering around going about their business like nothing happened. A lot of things happened. You fired your coach in the middle of July. You should be bending over backwards to help these kids. Period. And you're undercutting your head coach when you do that. When you're undercutting your head coach, because these kids are going to talk. And now now Dennis Gates and his coaching staff are going to have to go around, go on the recruiting trail. Your New York privileges have officially been revoked. I can guarantee you that. Good luck getting anybody out of New York City, getting out of the New York metropolitan area now. Good luck with that. You may have also burned Detroit, which you've been getting all of your recruits from for the last decade and a half. So you don't know what's going to happen there.
These families don't talk. These kids and families talk.
Yes.
You burn that bridge. You burn that bridge, and you show that you don't care about student athletes, that you actually don't give a damn about them as humans. They're going to talk, and you know what? I hope that every recruit that Gates got early is paying attention, and I hope that somewhere, the Williams family is talking to these recruits. I hope the Dunn family is talking to these recruits.
And you can expect two more of these, because we still haven't gotten a decision for Steph Kenich at Chattanooga. You haven't gotten a decision for D'Baji Walker at UMass, and I am waiting for that one. And maybe Tyree Appleby also applied for a waiver too. Or maybe 3. And it's just going to keep going on and on and on. And for what? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the only thing, if it was an isolated incident, if it was just denying Rashad Williams, I could maybe see, because Oakland is a conference, an in-conference school, that maybe I could see that. Maybe I could see that if it was just him and it was just Oakland. Maybe I could see that. Maybe, considering the situation surrounding him, it would still be kind of bunk anyway. But it would be at least something there. Rasheem Dunn already sat out a year. A year. He sat out a year, and he's going to get denied because his former institution, which he didn't even play for, fired their coach, the guy he wanted to play for, in the middle of July, and he decided that he didn't want to deal with that. He didn't want to deal with it. It all goes back to that. It all goes back to one simple, stated, plain fact. You fired your coach in the middle of July. Period. And that should come with some responsibility to the kids who don't want to be there. And by the way, you had to beg to stay and they still bounced on you. All but Jalen Hill.
And he probably didn't want to.
And Spider Johnson.
He didn't want to go because he knew he was going to play.
I mean, what is it? That it's. And I don't know. And again, it's the silence that is an issue for me above everything else, because at least you could try to explain what the process is and why you could deny you had anything to do with it. I don't care. Just say something instead of sitting here watching. Instead of not going about your business and me sitting there watching every single freaking fan of a team whose transfers have been, players have been denied transfer waivers take a big wet bite out of your ass. That is a bad look. That is a bad look for the university. It's a bad look for my alma mater. And I'm not, and it doesn't matter what the explanation is to me. It just needs to be one. Anything. Explain why you fired Dennis Felton after the kids ran away.
You look at
still doing that. We're 4 months later and they still don't have an explanation for that.
This guy has no clue, and he's made it obvious, and he doesn't give a damn about students. And again, I hope that
that's the part that makes me. And that's the narrative that's out there now. Is it true? Maybe, maybe not. But whatever he has been doing in the last 6 months to kind of rebuild athletics, which basically was just a complacent. Which prior to him getting there was a complacent pile of goo, and it was. For all the work he's done in the last 6 months, the perception of this right here, it's going to be out there now, and I don't want to say it's going to erase everything he's done, but you know what? Could be.
If you look at his Twitter bio,
the perception of it looks terrible. The perception that he doesn't care about student athletes is an issue. I don't believe that, but that's what's out there now. And for every single day that you're not saying something about it, not addressing it, not vehemently denying that you don't care about students, the narrative gets taken out of your hands, and it gets put in somebody else's hands. And that's what's happening right now. And that's the part I'm pissed off about.
His personal Twitter bio calls himself father, husband, sports fan, and director of athletics. He is not acting like a father. He's not acting, like sports fan, maybe. A director of athletics, nope. But definitely, the biggest one that shocks me is the first one. He calls himself a father. Man, you don't do this to kids. You don't treat people this way in your position. And then just sit quietly. And I imagine just sitting smug somewhere, having some nachos on his Sunday right now. Like, you are an asshole.
I don't understand. I just don't I don't understand the silence. I just don't. I mean, what is it? Is there like an official Cleveland State Administrator's Handbook where if crap hits the fan, y'all just basically that's been floating around that institution for 50 years? Is there a chapter saying so the crap has hit the fan? Here's what you do. Point 1, find a nice corner. Step 2, hide. Step 3, keep hiding until everything blows over. I wish this wasn't isolated. This is the silence thing. Is it because that there's no local news organization to actually question this at all? Is that why this is happening? You're not controlling the narrative. You're not. You think you are, but it's not happening. And now you're in a situation where there's a perception out there that you don't care about your student athletes. You need to address that. You need to address that immediately. Because I don't believe that. I am not in the camp. I am not in that camp. I don't believe that you don't care. I believe that you do. But if you don't say anything, the belief and the perception of the perception of you is not going to be in your hands. So you need to say something.
This is showing that they only care about the student athlete when they're wearing the Cleveland State logo. They don't really care about the person, and you know what? That's what's going to be real obvious. I saw an article the other day. It was a quarterback that Jim Harbaugh at Michigan had recruited, and they just found a heart defect in that kid. He hasn't played it down yet. I think he's probably finishing his senior year of high school. They found a heart defect in that kid. They're going to honor their scholarship to him and make sure that he's got a school to go to. That's caring about a kid. And I'm not a big Jim Harbaugh person, but that's an article that stood out to me. Okay, maybe he does care about his student athletes. That's not just something you say. This Cleveland State stuff, they don't care about their student athlete. They cared about Rashad Williams when he was wearing Cleveland State green and white, but the minute he needed to go home to be with a sick family member, and the sick family member's there to prove it, they've got the documents and all that. Obviously, Cleveland State doesn't care, and the NCAA, they don't care about anybody, and they've pretty much made that known.
Yeah.
So they're going.
But the other thing, too, and this is the part that just drives me crazy, is and it looks, and again, it's the perception that's out there now. That's the perception. And many years ago, a former Cleveland State athletic director, John Constantinos, said something said something to this tone of perception being reality. That was by 1996 he said that. Well, that's the problem right here. And it's not going to go away. In fact, again, it's going to perpetuate because the NCAA still has to dole out more decisions on Kenich, on Walker, maybe on Appleby. And when you have 50 some odd waivers getting approved, and then you don't have yours getting approved, that looks weird.
Chris Vogt got approved to go across the river.
Something is up.
That's always going to be my bar line. When Chris Vogt gets to go across the river to continue playing basketball with John Brandon, obviously NKU signed off on that. Good on NKU.
Yeah.
There was zero reason to approve that one, but that one got approved, and I guarantee the biggest factor was NKU said, "Hey man, if you don't want to be here, you want to go play with your other coach?
Yeah.
Hey, good luck." And that's what you do for a student athlete. That's being a stand-up institution. Good for you, NKU. The Cleveland State, they don't give a damn.
It looks horrible. It looks horrible, and and again, you can expect more of it. So make your next move, guys. You need to make the right one because obviously something's going on. But you fired your coach in the middle of July. Period. Kids had to scramble to get out of there. Kids were planning to scramble to get out of there because they didn't want to be there anymore. They don't want to be there anymore. That's great. Good luck in your future endeavors. But you're gonna have to. But the perception that you don't care, I'm that's not sitting well with me. That's not sitting well with me at all. So you need to address this. Period. You have to. Because this is going to have long-term negative effects for this institution. So if you don't address this, it's going to fester and it's going to linger. It's going to linger beyond this season, onto the recruiting trail, and everything that's associated with it. It could even affect, and honestly, it could probably affect not just it could affect all of your sports. That perception.
Absolutely.
And that is a step in the wrong direction. You put together in 6 months. You put together a solid team. You've built this. You rebuilt this department that was totally unorganized and totally unstructured because you had guys who were sitting there for about 5 or 6 years collecting paychecks and making sure the books were balanced, not really doing a lot else. Truthfully, you were able to in the last 6 months. You've been able to turn those. You've made the steps to turn it around, but this perception is now out there, and that's a problem. That's a major problem, and I see it needs to. You need to address it. You don't want all of your work for the last 6 months to end up getting just absolutely obliterated. You don't want to do that. I don't want to see you do that. I don't want to see that happen.
I got nothing, man. I wish nothing but the most inconvenience upon Cleveland State. I never wish ill on them because that's bad karma, but I hope the showers don't work in the locker room for them and that the water's warm when they go to drink it.
Oh God. All right. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and close up this bonus episode. Stay tuned. Be sure to also check out our student media forum. We've got that as posting up as well, and you can find episodes of the Horizon Roundtable on horizonroundtable.com, wherever you find podcasts, on your app, on your Amazon and Google devices. So thanks for listening, and say something,
Free
guys.
Rashad! Free Rashad!